pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Debbie has ditched us for a dinner.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, Debbie said she won't be doing it.
Wow, this is a small crowd tonight. Where's Debbie?
Debbie,
Debbie has a dinner date.
she emailed Allison tonight and said she had dinner plans.
Oh my goodness, I know. It was so cute that she.
So we don't have anybody from the public yet.
Roger, we got Roger. Thank you, Roger.
All right,
Let's get it over with.
All right, let's go. I thank everybody for being here. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting of 1/18/2023 held right here in this very historic room.
I move they be accepted as written.
Second. Any corrections, deletions? Seeing none, those in favor? Allison, are you in favor? Okay.
I'm assuming it was the latest email.
It's the latest version you get, that's the one we're talking about.
Oh wait, I think I may have just sent it over.
Thank you, Kim. Selectmen's comments, Tom.
I can report the solar committee is making progress. We've got, we had contact with Kristen and have some direction from her. And hopefully there'll be a draft proposal in a couple meetings. There is a history of Woolwich talk going on at the library soon.
February 18th.
February 18th. And that's it.
How, what's the focus of the solar committee? Are they, you get any insight on what they exactly they want to do? Or?
So what's happened so far is the committee has, each person has researched different towns in Maine of what they've done and looked at their ordinances. So right now, they're in the process of picking specifications or constraints or whatever out of the various ordinances to see what would work for us.
Okay.
Kristen has actually been involved in writing quite a few of these already, so she has some insight, and so that's been helpful. She did say that she thinks it should be a standalone ordinance rather than an amendment, because she felt that the current planning ordinance was a little bit Swiss cheese right now, and rather than try to bolt it together, just do a separate one. Yeah. So
we've patched it and pieced it so many times that I've.
it sounds like it might need to be revised or cleaned up or something at some point. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going well, and I imagine they'll be finished in time for the town meeting.
Okay. Allison?
Two short things, actually, to build on what Tommy said. The history talk on February 18th that I'm doing on behalf of the Historical Society is on Woolwich summer camps. So it'll be Booth Bay, Mayor meeting camps primarily, with a little bit of stuff on Chalk Point camp, which was the successor to Mayor meeting. The other thing I was going to mention, I can't remember, Brian, if I answered your question about the $70 million being in the EMS and the governor's budget. It is not. And since that was also in the minutes, currently in the budget for EMS is, I lost the number. It's something for training, I think 50,000.
$12.98.
Yeah. So anyway, there's people in the state in the legislature working to increase that number, but it will not be $70 million. That's it.
Dale?
Yeah, well, I brought this topic up a couple times with Jack and Jason about trees laying on the wires and why they don't get cut and all that stuff. And with all this heavy wet snow we've gotten, I don't know if anybody's noticed, the trees that are starting to lean towards the power lines more. I mean, there are places that are on the wires, there are places that they're leaning towards the wires. Is there a chance we can get a bill or a law or something passed to give Jack or the utilities the clearance to cut those trees before they're a problem?
I don't know, but all I can say is I did some reading the other day, and I did see where, you know, whether this whole proposals and things that we voted on in November, but CMP was actually working on proposing to cut much wider areas outside, I believe it's like 10 feet now, each side of the power line. I read all this the other day about, you know, what is the problem in Maine, what are we gonna do about
Where
it?
did you see that?
Oh, I have to find it, I Googled it and looked up. Dale, I don't know if there's any short, quick answer for
I
that.
know, because it deals with
You go up
private
in
property.
Sand Road, and in no time, you're gonna see a tree that
Yeah.
is bow grade over the road.
Yeah, you called me about some of those, I called CMP,
I have done it, I've met with
Yeah.
them. The trouble is, you get on a private property.
And that's exactly why I think we need your help.
Oh, yeah, because we love in Maine to take people's private property.
The trouble with some of the trouble with the ones that are on the wires, right, we've seen it up the road from us or down, wherever, you've got wires on Comcast trees on Comcast wires, trees on consolidated wires, not necessarily on power lines, right, because they're on power line, you can get somebody out there quick.
Yeah.
Sean got some action out on Walker Road this fall, he called somebody, but they won't, you can't do that every time.
Yeah, no.
You know, there's
They
hundreds
will on
of.
certain things, but they're not gonna, if like you said, consolidated or,
Yeah, Comcast, it's they drive right by it, you know, and we'll get it when it falls.
Under what circumstances can fire do it?
Well, on the
well, we
flip
don't
side
touch
of that
wires.
too,
Nothing is near wire.
Could private, I mean, if it's actually touching a wire, can't you call the utility?
You can, oh yeah. Well, if it's touching an electrical
if
wire.
it's actually on the electrical wire, they will come out
Yeah.
and take care of it, if it's on your
I
property.
wonder if it makes
I've
sense.
called them and they've come
Yeah.
over and cut.
I wonder if it
trees.
makes sense to, I mean, I didn't mean to be flip about like, you know, private property things, but I wonder if we could somehow encourage landowners to be a little more diligent about the trees on their own private property.
No, electrocution.
I hear the voice of
Allison,
experience.
you're a good Democrat.
Allison, the last time, a few years back, that CMP did a major cutting here in town, we got more complaints from people because they cut a tree.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, that's,
And the 10 people
Yeah.
that would complain about that tree being cut would be the first to complain when their electricity goes out.
Exactly.
I mean, and it just, they stopped in front of my house one time and wanted to cut a couple trees. I cut anything you want, take it right down to the.
About 45 years ago, or a little over, there was a thing going on in this town where they were doing that exactly.
yeah.
The town chose to start cutting.
Oh,
The town pretty near got into lawsuits because of whose wood it was, whose property it was on, and so on. So, and I know this firsthand because my father had a situation with it. But, you know, we have talked about this at the shop, we've talked about it with the power company. There are no easy ways out of this, I don't know. It would be great if everyone took care of their own, but it's impossible.
This is the most heavily treed state in the United States. We have more trees per acre than any
And
other
we have
state in
overhead
the
wires.
country. And overhead wires, and that is a, you know, it's just a situation that is designed to fail. And it's gonna fail every time, and it, you know, I mean, they would have to have a crew doing nothing but cutting 24/7, 365 days a year to keep up with it. And again, the problem is
And
a
then
lot of people,
neighbors are gonna
a
come
lot
out
of
and
people,
scream.
a lot of people do not want that maple tree out in front of their house cut.
If you come out of Dana's Mill Road and head north, right there on the left-hand side, there's a tree that's been hanging on the wires for
100 yards up the road from Jack's shop, there's one that's pushing the wires right down.
Yeah, there's no power lines there, it's only
No,
cable.
it's on cable.
telephone, yeah.
There is one, when you cross the little wooden bridge into Wiscasset, there's a tree that's been laying right on the wires for months, and why it hasn't taken them down, I don't know, but, you know.
I mean, I'd be, you know, I'll talk to,
There's got to be something we can do to make it so, I mean, he's all about the high-speed internet. Well, it's no good if the trees are going to rip the wires down all the time.
maybe that could be part of the grant.
Is, if Jack, if it's on if the tree's on the right of way of the road, don't we have some say about that? We could call CMC, hey, cut this.
There's a very thin line whether we do or not, because remember, in some cases, it's still a right of way. the owner still owns the property.
Well, to answer his question, you just touched on call CMP. Oh, no, we call CMP all the time, but they won't take a tree down unless it's,
I met with him right behind the shop one day. I finally got a hold of the guy, he came over, a very nice older man, son of power. I got his pickup, we drove up behind the shop, the tree was laying right up over the power line, the power lines. And I said, that's gonna fall, and we'll clean that whole thing out. He said, when it dies, we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So,
they do, they just.
I mean, it's becoming more of a problem. I don't know if it's because we've got more trees or worse weather or what, but it's getting bad.
Yeah. I'll check around.
Well, the trees always reach for the sun, right? So, Jason?
You all good?
I have a question for
Oh.
Dale, because you mentioned something that you wanted to bring up tonight about the people pushing snow in the roadways.
Yes.
Dale, you already know the law, you're allowed to, I know what you're gonna bring up, so what I deal with all the time, you do it. Yeah, what do you wanna talk about?
Well.
The law says you can plow across the road, but you have to clean your mess up. So you got a guy over there you're talking about, one that does the big snowball?
We get several of them now.
Yeah, we're good. Well, I haven't got time to stop yelling. I don't know, we got a lot of them. We got an awful
I was
lot.
up on the mountain road the other night, it was all cleaned up, and I was sanding. A guy came out with a snow blower, and
Just
he
said, well-
piled it right up right in the road.
Yeah.
Piled it right up right in the road. And I probably, the best thing I could do is not stop. 'Cause I-
Well,
And I was gonna ask him if he knew what I was doing. I'm sanding, and he's blowing, he's standing there like the guy, he probably has saw family vacation, but he's blowing it out the road.
So you're allowed to blow snow on the road?
No.
I thought there was a statute that you,
No, you're not allowed to do any of that. Brian knows more about it than I do, but what I know of the law, and I've asked 100 times, you can plow across the road, but you have to clean your mess up. You can't leave anything in the road. We have a
Right.
guy, we have a new person over on Middle Road, Dale's referring to, and we had a 4 or 5 foot snowball the other night, after the roads were bare, and I gotta go out, I mean, it's just ridiculous, but I didn't even, I'm not gonna drive to the guy's house and get in a fight with him and all that, but I don't know, I'm sure if we call the sheriff's department, somebody will make a phone call, but, we do need it, but it's just, but there's a lot of them, I mean, it's ridiculous. That is a great reminder, because we did do it years ago, remember? Of course, the tax bills are coming out, but it's a great one for the fall tax bill. You know what I mean? Just a
Yeah.
reminder, don't put stuff in the road.
So she found
Yeah,
a letter or whatever, what was it you found?
yeah,
yeah, there's a lot of towns that will post something on their Facebook or their website that says, it's
You wanna
against the
deal with
law.
that? Yeah, you're
It's
gonna-
against the law.
you're gonna be all day
No,
doing the
it's-
back way.
Right,
The state,
right.
That we have a pretty good idea who the problem people are.
Oh, yeah, there's only 30.
Well, they'll be the biggest complainers.
in fact, DOT recommends that the towns do that.
Right.
But,
Do put it out, like you say, on Facebook and,
But you saw what DOT did, they educated people on how to clean around your mailbox and
Yeah.
snow, and then you saw all the comments where people, it just got on this whole rant.
There's somebody that plows on my road that plows across the road.
well, I think we should put something up.
Well, Dale's right, this one the other end of the middle road, I didn't, oh, it's just ridiculous.
I'm telling you, there was a ball of snow and it was hard, wet snow.
I have never seen a round ball like this, it was 5 foot
I thought it
round.
was snow.
No,
This is a
that
plow.
was, oh, there's more than one. But
Okay.
this one was out there, and you have to go around in the lane, and the road had been bare for hours, everything was great.
Was
This
this right
guy's,
by the little state road?
yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
We can
We
add
got
somebody
calls
in the tax bill.
Well, you need to send somebody over there, because that, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
Took over the house with the fellow that.
Oh, I
yeah,
know.
right. Well, that has become a problem, because I went and said.
I noticed it every storm.
I go out special, I have to go back 12 hours after the storm at night or something, say, it's kind of exhausting to do all this babysitting.
Maybe we could do this flyers going in the tax bill.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
we will.
going out in a couple of weeks. It's
Sorry about
snow
that.
season.
Well, Sean, you got calls.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Absolutely.
They gotta send somebody out there. All right, moving on.
Moving
All right.
on.
So real quickly,
Jason.
I had a meeting today,
Couple weeks, you said.
all right, so for the board to know, I met with Sightlines, if you recall that whole meeting on the.
Yes.
So I met with Sightlines, Kristen, Ruth, today at their office in Brunswick. It was a very good meeting. The fellow that did the survey, Kevin, is a partner in the firm, he's an older man, he was there. He also happens to be a neighbor of, names, who owns the property? Albert Moore. So young Mr. Albert Moore happens to be his neighbor. He
Oh,
knows him quite well.
In
So
Brunswick?
yes, so they're going to have a conversation, do some more research, and figure out what we need to do. Kristen has conveyed what language we need for a warrant article.
Okay.
To discontinue the road maintenance. Remember, we're not discontinuing the road, we're going to discontinue the road maintenance.
Right.
So they all seem to be comfortable that they'll have this figured out by the middle of March to get some language going
Okay,
forward.
so that we'll know where we can put our boat ramp.
Right, the boat ramp still is where it's proposed, the short story is the only way to really ultimately deal with it is to get a release from or more for any area that may or may not be a problem there, in that low intertidal zone.
Because we don't know.
Because it can't, yeah, they explained it all, and it's more clear to me now, but I can't re-explain it. But this fellow knows him quite well, they did the survey work 2018, seems to know everything about him.
Right.
So we just have to see what happens. But Ruth did indicate today, though, that their funding will be paying for all this, that, you know, the attorney today, all this stuff.
Good.
While I had her ear, I did discuss the recent events this week with the visit from the folks from the state.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, but at 10 o'clock Friday, there's a what's the terminology? Final.
Final,
The closing.
there we go.
Yes, and I met with,
We had did the opening and now it's the
yeah, and
closing.
I met with both of the individuals in the parking lot when I got here today, and I said I would be
10
there.
a.m.
It's 10 o'clock.
10, yes.
Yeah, 10 o'clock Friday is the closing. They were very polite, they said very good things about the staff.
Yes, they did.
Sean, everybody's been great, but Kristen said that when it's in writing, she'd be happy to look at it, she's dealt with this before. We all know the outcome, we've got to do what we gotta do, but we gotta, you know, see if we can see through all that, so.
Okay.
Now, Kim, is that gonna be teleconference or is that?
Yeah, it's gonna be,
When you get
team.
the info, can you send that to us?
That's what she said, it'd be team.
Yeah.
And she was glad, so any select board members that are available at 10 o'clock Friday, yeah.
10 o'clock
it's
on
gonna
Friday,
be our
we
closing.
huddle around.
All right,
So
I'll try to make it.
Who do we make sure knows, to email us the link for?
Well, she's gonna send it to me,
Yes,
Okay.
so I can send it
Just
to you
all
guys.
of us, yeah.
yeah. What I do is I just choose.
What was that major issue? What was the?
Where do you want to start? We haven't got time right now.
Okay.
I know. She left the town office alone, which I.
They were very great, I can't say enough though, I want to say, I'll be very
Sean ate a
specific.
lot of chocolate.
This individual said to me today, you know, when I first met the fire chief, I had some concerns. And then, but since you, you know, looking at you and you know, whatever, just seeing experience, I should say, and then she realized that you were very knowledgeable, said that everybody's been wonderful, you've been great, Tommy. I had my first run in the other day with him, but this is all supposed to be for the greater good, and we're gonna get through it, you know? There's gonna be some work to do, and
Yep.
All right,
anyway, that's all I got.
I have nothing. And there's nobody here from the public. Roger, unless you want to say something. Okay, road commissioners report, Jack.
I really have nothing except one concern that I would like to make sure gets on the ballot here. Down on the old Russick Road, there's a retaining wall falling off into the ditch. I guess I thought it was a Baker property. I don't know if it's been sold or rehandled or not. But there's a wooden wall that's falling into the ditch.
Right, so real quick on that, this is Dennis Baker's property. He's chose to lease it, you know this, Kim, right? We're dealing with, your name, Juan,
Jan Martin,
Jan, right? And so I think they're coming at the next meeting,
yes.
and so this will be the third retail marijuana.
Wait, this is different from a
No,
retaining
it's
wall.
it's the same property, though. It's the retaining wall that is on that property,
On the backside by
on
the
the back
tree.
side. I had mentioned it to the planning board, but the property is being retained by Dennis and being leased to this company. But we obviously will be having our public hearing. It's a fair question to ask, what's going to happen with this falling over retaining wall? You know what I'm talking about, we haven't seen it. Go look at it, drive by, you'll see it's a big problem. But anyway, Kim has been dealing with them all week and with their attorney, and I think they're scheduled to come
They're
maybe.
demanding to come.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I looked over some of the stuff, I encouraged somebody to sit down with Kim and I before that meeting. I'm not sure that everything is in the application, she's trying to tell them that, but they're demanding they want
Have
to
they already
come.
been to the planning board?
They're all done with the site plan, but if you remember, we need to determine the
Right.
completeness of their
Right,
application.
right.
Then we schedule a public hearing on our side. We think they're missing some things, they don't think they are. We looked at the other two, we see things that we don't
Right.
see over here.
The other two's application information is like that, and I have,
Yeah, but their attorney is demanding today, when I got here,
That
Kim's like,
week, but yeah.
and I said, you know what, let's schedule it. It's our decision to determine
Right, if
completeness.
they come in here and we don't feel that it's a
You want-
complete application, we'll just kick it back to them and they'll wait 2 more weeks.
Yeah,
So are you talking about a couple of us?
well, we got two choices. We could either meet early, I don't know what we're doing with budgeting and all that, I already forgot. But we could meet a little early and look at it that night, prior to the,
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
you know, and Tom or whoever, and then, you know, we just, as you know, it's a lot to do right at the
Do
meeting.
we know when they're demanding
Well,
The next select board meeting.
we usually
is what
do
she
it,
said.
we usually do it prior to the select board meeting.
Right,
Remember in the past,
to
we
go
did
over.
it
So,
five.
can we
I
start?
I would like to plan on, until we get the budget done, that we're gonna meet at 4:30 every
Wednesday.
scheduled select board night until we get the budget done. And we may have to, if you remember last year, we had a couple of off nights. We might wanna do like the library on an off night or
Yep.
something
Yep.
like that. So that we'll continue with Wednesday nights, okay?
So if we're meeting on the 15th, do we want them to come at 5:30?
Sure.
I mean, it's half an hour seems to be pretty
5:30,
quick, don't
absolutely.
you? For them, what do you guys
And so
think?
not the first? Oh, this is.
This is the first, yeah. So 2 weeks from tonight, that gives us an hour for budget, and then we work on
Okay.
those guys at 5:30. And that's not the public hearing, just the,
No, it's just for us to review the application to determine if we feel it's complete.
that's right.
What they feel means nothing. I mean, if we say it's not complete, it's not complete.
Well, that's why this attorney was snippy, and I said to Kim, fine, let's do it, but it's the board's determination. I'm not just me, I mean, it's the
So we're gonna
board.
determine its completeness before the public hearing.
What we do is we usually determine completeness, and then we schedule the public hearing. It has to be advertised. I suggest if you want to meet it for that day, before
It
the
would
budget.
be, I won't be able to make it, but if everybody
Okay.
else.
But if you
can.
want to just look through it to get, or we can do it, I mean, somebody has to determine what, there's some things that we think are missing.
Yeah.
But,
I can be there at 4:30.
okay, how are we gonna deal with the retaining wall? They should be either repaired or replaced or removed, one of the.
Yeah,
one of the three.
Debbie
He
said,
doesn't need to park cars on that side anymore. That's the whole reason he put the retaining wall in, was so he could park cars on that side.
Yeah.
He put the retaining wall down, grade the bank.
If you taper that on a slope
Right,
and rock it, you're gonna lose quite a bit of real estate.
yeah.
right, so David, Debbie had sent me a message tonight, the planning board approved this marijuana site plan, and said that, I got it right here, in the message, that they wanted him to contact the road commissioner. He has not heard anything. I just think that retaining wall, no matter who owns the property, this is a change of use. And so we're gonna talk about that with these folks when they come, like, what are you doing to the store, what are you doing with the parking? You've been to the planning board, but now you need to tell us everything that's been approved, show us their site
What's he
plan.
gonna do with the Dots property?
You're asking all kinds of questions I don't have answers for.
Right.
But anyway, all I'm saying is, we shouldn't be in a position where we're gonna have to spend thousands of dollars to clean this mess up. And so on.
Look at it before the next couple.
Yeah, drive down, it's easy to look
You
at.
know where it is, right? Turn it
I
on
know
the Russet
exactly
Road,
what it is.
yeah, right on the right hand side.
It
Well, we should make
technically,
that a requirement, that something is done with that retaining wall.
That came up at the planning board.
It did, but Debbie had mentioned that some of the board members thought that where it was leased and still owned by Baker, that it really had nothing to do with it. But I thought that where it's a change of use, this is when you catch up. You know, Ed's stuff sold, had a septic system that was whatever. Then he got caught up, okay, you need a holding
I
tank,
mean,
do something different.
Again, the only reason that retaining wall was there is so he could increase his lot size to park cars out there. He no longer needs to park cars out there, so that the least expensive and most sensible way to do it would be to remove the
Well, clearly,
retaining wall, paper
yeah.
the bank in and be done with
They're
it.
clearly
I
gonna-
think if it's a change of use, we can make, you know.
I think that it's part of this whole, they're gonna have to do some work there,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, it's obviously a change of use, it's going to a retail establishment, right?
Exactly.
It was a repair establishment, and I suppose retail and repair before, but, you
You
know.
probably take the lift out.
Yeah,
well, it's not even safe. I mean, it's not safe for kids that are over there playing around with it. It's not, it shouldn't be allowed the way it is.
but not only that, if it falls into our road, we gotta deal with it.
Exactly.
Oh, it's been in our ditch multiple times.
Okay.
Oh,
What did?
Other than that,
Go look at it,
I have
please.
nothing.
Thanks, Jack. Anybody have anything else for Jack? Okay, we'll move on. Code officer is not here tonight, and I didn't see a report, so.
Well, he sent me a report last select board meeting at like 6:01, and I printed it, and I forgot it downstairs. So he's been busy, I'll tell you that. He's
Okay.
issued a lot of building permits, a lot of plumbing permits. He's been right on board with the marijuana retail store going in.
Okay, we'll just attach that to our.
We'll-
to our
just tell him
minutes.
it's the last one in town, he never has to do it.
EMS director.
I think they quick.
I'm sorry, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
I understand there's been a change at the Holbrook Solar Farm as to who the contractor is doing the work.
Mhm.
And of course, as you know, we've got up and down weather and so on. I don't know what the next step is gonna be, but there may be a lot of truck traffic, or there may not be, or whatever. But it is a different contract, it is not homework doing the work anymore. So, I don't know, we'll have to watch it and see.
As far as going into a posting season,
Yeah. But
this has been a really bad year, David, because
You have to
people have,
post the road, you have to
Wow.
post the road.
people have thought they could keep going, and sure, it's gonna be cold for a few days, but if you look ahead, it's 40.
Well, we can't afford,
Can't beat our roads
the
up.
way things are costing, we can't afford to take any damage. They let the job go way, way beyond where it's supposed to be. This time was all supposed to be done,
Last summer.
yeah, in dry weather.
Well, there is no frost in the ground.
No, and even if we get cold for 2 days, it puts us where we
So
would
it isn't
have
gonna
been.
it isn't gonna do any good.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Okay, EMS Director Brian.
They've done, let's see, since the last select board meeting, we've done 3 transfers of our community transfer responsibilities with Maine Coast. There may be another one coming in, that's why I had to step out. We have 14 911 calls, 8 of those were non-transports, 6 were transports. We've seen a lot of falling down on the ice, needing help getting up, no injury type calls, which is part of the job. Let's see, we went mutual aid to Dresden once, got canceled on it, and we used MC1 twice. I just want to confirm, so February 22nd, I know it's an off night for the budget, 5 o'clock for that,
What time?
5 please.
3 weeks from tonight, right?
Yep. And the other meeting that we talked about, can we try to schedule that for either the 14th or the 21st? There's the expediency of those meetings and getting something in place. I'd like to have
So
board
that-
members there
yeah.
for
I-
it.
That's 2 weeks from last night, right?
Yeah, 14th is, I will be here, Valentine's Day, but that's not why I'm not going to be here.
Do we know, we don't know anybody's availability, we just need to pick a
Yeah,
night.
no, I just want to pick a date and get it out to people.
Yeah.
And thinking to do it off of a select board meeting night.
Can it be any earlier? I mean, does it have to be 6, or can it
It
be?
can be 5.
5?
It's- The only issue is I get out of work at 5.
Oh,
I mean,
oh,
I can sneak over, but,
Yeah.
um,
Weather's the only thing for me, so
yeah.
I'll do
Yeah, so
whatever,
how-
I'll do whatever you guys want to
yeah.
do.
How do we want to coordinate? Do you guys want to call your fire people? I can call the
Yeah, that's
select board people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So we'll do the 21st,
That would work better.
Tuesday the 21st,
I'd like to be part of that.
Okay.
Tuesday the
21st, Tuesday the
21st,
21st.
at 5.
and that's Georgetown, around 6. Boy, I almost want to say that one of those towns has a select board meeting that night, but I'll find out.
Well,
Okay, so we're gonna meet both on Tuesday, the 21st and the 22nd?
well, the 21st, I guess would be optional for
For everybody. yeah.
everybody, but that would be the meeting to discuss and kind of throw out this idea of some sort of regional effort. I don't want it to be me trying to drive a point down the throats of other communities. So that's where, some input from members of the select board would certainly be helpful.
No, I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah. I think it makes sense to find somebody to just sort of, we could ask always maybe to run it, just as somebody who's sort of not part of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then, with the weather, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. We have held warming shelters in the past and had 0 use. When we lost power for a couple days last month, we opened it up to both Woolwich and Arrest residents, and we had one person come over and get water. Just non-potable, just so they could do whatever they needed to feed animals or whatever. Is that something that the board is expecting of me in my emergency management role to put one forth for this weekend, or are we satisfied with the numerous communities around us,
Right.
the
Mostly
YMCA's
that,
and such,
YMCA.
that we can direct our people there? where we've offered it in the past and gotten nowhere, and I just don't want to tax out my volunteers more than they need to on that.
And what's nice about it is the announcement from Bath is like called this number, which I imagine if we did, you know, depending on where they were. they
Yeah, so
could-
211 gives you all the warming shelters in the community, and maybe that's something that we want to put a blast out.
Oh, maybe that's, yeah.
211 is the local, is the state information number. So if we were to open one up, and
Yeah.
we would tell them, and they could direct us here. But
Yeah.
if the board is expecting me to put something together, I'll put something together. If the board is satisfied knowing that we haven't had much haven't had any use in the past, and we're satisfied with the other community options available to us, I'm okay with that too. I just want the board to give me some direction on that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today when I,
Just that people can't give out of the kindness of the hat and how, no, if somebody came, I mean, we didn't pay anybody or anything.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't pay, because I've got that volunteer group that I can reach out to. They, you know, it's been a couple of years since we've tried to really activate them.
Might be a good thing, just to see if anybody's still there, you know?
Yeah, no, we reached out, I did reach out to them, the storm that we lost power for a couple of days, and we opened it up for,
Yeah.
we were staffed from staff
Day.
until we shut it down, and we had staffing available.
What if we
after
put it
that.
on, put it on a sign this weekend, that if somebody needs something, let's put a number where they could, you know, urge people to call
we just-
211 and
we
let
get rid of-
people know that if somebody
else?
needs to come here to get warm or whatever, we let them in.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Can we
Instead
just
of
get,
like all
for
of
this
the-
weekend, can we just get rid of all the other messages and just leave it up, warming center, dial, warming center, or need a warming center, dial 211, make it a little bigger and push people out to the resources.
Just leave that.
Yeah, we could do a post on the website,
Yeah.
we'll send emails out there.
Let's do that, let's
Yeah,
just,
I think
just encourage people, that anybody needs to call 211, and then they can get hold of somebody here. I mean, I could come down and walk the building if I had to.
Well, it's only a difference of going a few miles.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can certainly reach out to the shelter, so say we do nothing, and we reach out to the shelters next week and say, hey,
How to work.
how to work, did you have any Woolwich residents?
Right.
Yes, we had a bunch, all right, cool, we're opening up from now on.
Okay,
Um,
that's a good
And
idea.
such, we've had no takers, whether it's a warming or a cooling shelter. And I think that,
Yeah.
and it generally speaks to the,
Independent
Stubbornness.
spirit.
Well, it's true, they're very unlikely to leave their homes.
And they're even more unlikely to leave Woolwich.
Right. The only way we would have anybody take it this weekend would be if it's power outages.
That's right, power outages or their heat went out for some, you know, some really bad reason. Yeah, if their water freezes, we'll wait till it thaws.
um,
No, it won't pitch people.
and just the last bit, just a clerical piece, because normally in between when I get out of work and the 6 o'clock meeting is when I would put my bills together and get a chance to do that tonight. I'll take them home, and they'll be here tomorrow. I'm not working tomorrow, so I'll get those up here tomorrow so you guys can sign off. Nothing significant. The only significant one I guess I should bring up is our NC1 bill for the year, the $5,000 for NC1.
So that would be
Entire year.
sometime tomorrow, that'll be in the signature files, if you guys get a chance, just swing by and.
Yeah, or we come in Friday.
Okay, Fire Chief, Sean Merrill.
We had 8 calls since the last meeting. Nothing significant, car accidents and such. A couple basements from the last rain and slushy mess, we had a couple basements we had to pump out for that.
You do that?
What's that?
You do that? That's
Yeah, well, it's
nice.
just folks, a couple of them, the 2 in particular were elderly
Oh, okay.
individuals that either their sub pumps let go or what have you, so
Ah,
we assisted them with that. Yeah. Took care of that, and then just waiting on the door. It's still
And
working.
he,
and he.
Yeah,
I know,
Gordon, he-
I know,
yeah.
all right, so yeah.
So, yeah, so maybe a warming center is a great
Yeah,
idea.
we're not gonna be very hot. So real quick follow-up on the heat, I called Dead River, supply shortage. Supposedly the heater's
You're
somewhere.
just going down the list.
I know. Somewhere in Massachusetts, like drive down and pick it up. I did say that to the person. They're like, oh no, you know, so, whatever, doing the best we can.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have been this past Monday.
It makes you hardy.
Yeah. Yeah, and the same, I didn't get mine, obviously, I've been a little busy today, so, I didn't get my billing done, but I'll probably have that done next day or two, so.
Sean, are you keeping the tank snow blowed out so we can get
I haven't looked at it, but I can.
Okay. You could get one of your guys to just run the snow blower out, and they could go all the way to the generator, just in case the generator needed service. And then technically, we're supposed to keep this back door
Yep. Yeah,
accessible.
did they mention that today? They checked us, right?
We get gigged on that if they come down in the winter.
I didn't hear any issues. They did look today, but I didn't hear any issues.
Right, well, they look today.
Did they go down in the basement?
I did take it down there.
I don't know, every light was on, every door was open.
Kind of,
So
I'm
like-
in the basement.
Why would you tell them we had one?
We tried
I
not
know,
to.
but I
We
went
tried
down,
not to.
I was like, we
They-
shut the light off, the
They've
door
been
was,
here
the light was
for
on.
days.
Yeah, and I went downstairs and every door was open.
No, I went in the parking lot, I saw them get in that car and leave.
Play pool at night.
The key to the office down there had reappeared.
They found-
Yes, it was in Opal's pocket.
Was that- Oh,
Because Opal we had the election stuff in there,
oh.
and she's like, in the pocket, so she put it back.
That's good though. No,
It
that's
is good.
It
I
is-
was like-
Yeah, this is the one for the
Yeah.
hidden room, yeah, okay, good.
Okay, all right, so you'll take care of the snow blowing.
Yep.
And anybody have anything further for the chief? Okay,
I just want to throw in there, since somebody brought it up, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to say it now. I think you guys did an awesome job dealing with the Department of Labor today. That it was, I was there for 2 or 3 of the hours that they were here, and it was really impressive how well they handled this.
Thank you for bringing us lunch today.
So,
That was a big help.
I'd say I'm sorry I missed that. Steve Lyon.
Well,
It was
I will
quite a
say,
surprise on Monday when I came
out of the parking lot,
in.
when they were leaving, they did reiterate, so that they thought, everybody here, the staff, Kim, everybody, Tom, everybody that they've dealt with, I try to, I'm a little non-conforming, but they said that we were very pleasant to deal with, there was no attitudes, no, hey, it is what it is, and I think they have a good feel for us, but we'll see how it goes.
See what that means.
See what happens.
Yeah, right. We'll see what happens.
Trying to stay on task tonight. Do you have
Yes.
anything under old business?
I just have, I reached out to the school and the gym is available on April 26th, so town meeting, April 26th at 6 o'clock.
Let's do it.
Perfect,
Okay, good.
that's official, right?
That's official.
We need to be ready by then. Okay, anything under new business?
Just that I know that we have budgets going on. I currently don't have a vehicle, so I hope to God that I can make it to work.
Dale?
Because my car will not be available until February 16th. What? Because they have no parts on order.
Parts issues.
Parts or they're coming from Hawaii.
Do you want, can you slum it and use one of my cars?
She
Well,
would-
my daughter is driving me now,
God.
but she has no heat.
You don't want to
She
go
has
that
no
way.
heat in her car, so
Your daughter has no heat
very,
in her
very
car?
cold in her car. No heat in her
There's
car.
no heat in the car?
No.
So my
No.
cars have heat,
So
they have a
Friday is gonna be a
They
Well,
have no
she's down here
tires.
now waiting for you, right?
I know, yeah.
There's no heat in the car?
Well, I've got a 1966 Chevy van sitting in my barn.
So,
but
just
there's no
saying.
heat in that either, but-
I'm hoping her car starts on Friday.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm also in the process of, we bought a house, so I'm closing on February 10th, so I won't be here, and then I gotta take some time off and move, so.
Ah,
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's like moving in the middle of winter.
I did that.
Winter, budget season, I mean,
Yeah.
U-Haul does not put snow tires on its vehicles.
Actually, our broker, the Fontaine family, and they have a moving van that they own and they allow you to use it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Helps with the sale.
I know, moving van, okay.
Wow.
I'm sure that's headed right in their broker costs.
Well, that's what happens. when you're
It's only about 20 minutes away from where I live now.
20 minutes?
20,
Oh, 20 minutes?
yeah,
Well, there could be 10 miles or 20 miles, I suppose.
that's true,
It may.
yes. Yeah, true, that's.
4 miles,
right.
2 hours.
Other
Okay,
than that, I have nothing.
all right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
We're out of here.